When you hear a song, do you close your eyes and let the melody wash over you? Or do you tap your feet and hum along? Whether it's a slow ballad or an upbeat dance track, music has a way of touching our souls in different ways. But did you know that music isn't static? It evolves just like language, mirroring the rhythm of our society and echoing the emotions of its time. Musicians like Buddy Bolden and King Oliver became pioneers of this new genre. They experimented with improvisation, where each performance was a conversation between musicians, a back and forth of musical ideas. Improvisation allowed for personal expression and creativity, which resonated deeply with audiences. The civil rights movement was gaining momentum and people were challenging societal norms. Picture a crowded dance floor, the lights flashing, people dressed in their finest attire, all swaying to the infectious beats of Donna Summer or the Bee Gees. Bands like the Sex Pistols and the Clash emerged, their music raw and their lyrics often political in nature. Punk was about rebellion, about speaking your mind no matter how controversial it might be. Disco was more than just music. It was a cultural phenomenon that celebrated freedom, individuality, and most importantly, dancing. Artists like Aphex Twin and The Prodigy blurred the lines between genres, incorporating elements of techno, house, and ambient music into their work. Music was now at our fingertips, available on platforms like iTunes and later Spotify. Longing for a simpler time, a return to acoustic instruments and heartfelt lyrics, some found solace in the revival of folk music. Artists like Mumford & Sons and the Lumineers emerged, their music characterized by its organic instrumentation and often melancholic themes. Indie artists gained more visibility, bypassing the traditional gatekeepers of the music industry. The lines between genres started to blur even more. Artists like Beck and Jack Johnson incorporated elements of folk, rock, and electronic music into their work, creating a genre-bending sound that defied easy categorization. And that story is not just about the music, it's about the world that the music came from and the people who made it possible. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more entertaining and educational content. Until next time, happy listening. So keep exploring, keep listening, and keep discovering the wonderful world of music. You never know what gems you might find. The result was a sound that was experimental, often unpredictable, but undeniably catchy. From the improvisational freedom of jazz to the digitally driven sounds of hyperpop, each genre tells the story of a generation. Music is more than just a collection of notes. It's a reflection of our hopes, dreams, and struggles. Synthesizers took center stage, giving birth to electronic music genres such as synthpop and techno. Artists like Flume and Odesha blended elements of electronic, hip-hop, and R&B into their music, creating a dreamy, atmospheric sound. Genre labels became less important as music became more of a personal expression, a reflection of individual experiences and emotions. Artists like Depeche Mode and Kraftwerk experimented with pulsating rhythms and ethereal vocals, creating a sound that was both futuristic and strangely nostalgic. Artists like 100 Gex and Dorian Electra pushed the boundaries of pop music, experimenting with maximalist production, incorporating elements of electronic hip-hop and even punk. It's a genre that celebrates diversity, challenges gender norms, and most importantly, encourages self-expression. This was the era when music videos also became an integral part of an artist's persona. MTV, which launched in 1981, became a cultural touchstone, shaping the way music was consumed and produced. This era gave rise to a new form of jazz, one that was deeply rooted in the struggles and triumphs of African Americans. Figures like John Coltrane and Charles Mingus poured their hearts and souls into their music, addressing issues of race, inequality, and hope for a better future. Coltrane's music, particularly his composition A Love Supreme, became an anthem of sorts, expressing his personal journey of faith and redemption. Emerging in the Bronx borough of New York City, hip-hop was a cultural movement that encompassed jing, rapping, breakdancing, and graffiti art. Pioneering DJs like Kool Herc laid the foundation by extending the instrumental breaks of funk and soul songs, creating a continuous rhythmic backdrop. Rappers like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five followed, their rhymes flowing over the infectious beats. Hip-hop became a voice for the marginalized, a platform to express social commentary and personal narratives through rhythmic speech. Jazz became more than just music. It was a way to express oneself freely. In this video, we go on a musical journey from the birth of jazz to the dreamy sounds of chillwave. Imagine stepping into a smoky jazz club in the 1920s. The air thick with anticipation. Piano starts playing, notes cascading like water down a fountain. Legendary figures like Louis Armstrong emerged, pushing the boundaries of the genre. Armstrong's trumpet playing was technically brilliant, but it was his ability to infuse each note with emotion that set him apart. His music became the soundtrack of a generation, capturing the energy, the joy, and sometimes the sorrow of everyday life. Then a trumpet joins in, adding its brassy voice to the mix. Enter cool jazz. Unlike its predecessor, cool jazz featured more complex harmonies and a focus on subtlety and nuance. Musicians like Miles Davis and Dave Brubeck led the way. Their music seemed to float effortlessly, a soothing balm for a world that had seen too much turmoil. This is where our journey begins, the birth of jazz. In New Orleans, around the 1910s, African-American musicians blended blues and ragtime with European musical traditions, creating a sound that was uniquely their own. As jazz gained popularity, it spread to larger cities like Chicago and New York, but the world was changing after World War II. People were looking for something new, something that reflected the anxieties and uncertainties of the times. Fast forward to the 1960s, and the world is a very different place. But music doesn't exist in a vacuum. It feeds off the cultural landscape, and in the 1970s, the world was disco. Then came punk in the late 1970s and early 1980s, a reaction against the excess of disco and the perceived elitism of the music industry. As the 1980s dawned, the music scene shifted again. But the 1990s brought about a revolution, the birth of hip-hop. As the internet started weaving its way into our lives, a new genre emerged, one that was born digital, electronica. And then the 2000s arrived, and with them, the streaming era. But not everyone was happy with the direction music was headed. Then in the 2010s, a new wave of experimentation arose. Today we find ourselves in the age of hyperpop. Throughout this musical journey, we've seen how music mirrors the times in which it's created. As you listen to your favorite tracks, whether they're from the 20s or the 20s, remember that each song has a story to tell. So what do you think? Did we miss any important genres or eras in our musical journey?